Hey guys, what's going on? Give it a second to get going. Just getting started. Wow, what a fucking move. Why is it showing that? Should be showing this. There we go. Cool. All right, I'll just start talking. People can come in. They can rewind it if they want to. So just gonna talk about SPX action real quick today. So we're melting down to 6,400. Transition zone today, as we talked about in the pre-market prep, was 64.35 down up to 64.65. Obviously, trying to make an attempt above 64.50 early in the session, kind of in the middle of the prior day range. Then you can see, once we broke through the bottom of our drunken tether range, had a little bit of a retest, and then it's just been a meltdown the rest of the day, which makes sense. That is what we talk about every day. Is those are kind of two key goalposts, and if we're able to breach one side or the other, then that's kind of where the acceleration of the put side, if we break below the transition zone, or the call side break above the transition zone, is where we expect to see a lot of acceleration. And not only is it, let me get to the game plan real quick. So yes, understanding the structure is important, right, in terms of those levels. That's how we get that every day in the morning. C435, that's the bottom of the zone. But then from there, it's understanding, okay, once the bell rings, how are people actually transacting? And that is where we look at our intraday volume analysis. So what this is SPX 0DT volume. Why 0DT? Because 50%, give or take a little bit, is what transacts every day in the SPX 0DT market. So we specifically focus on this, and we probably had this command over a year now. Gives us a very good sense of what price action is doing currently. So the character of it in terms of trending higher, lower, or sideways. Clearly today it's been a trending lower day. Call centroid has been moving lower all session. Put centroid has been moving lower all session. So that tells us that on net, call speculators are transacting lower. They're not speculating higher, and price follows where speculation goes. And so yes, this tells us what the trend of the market has been. So right, just replaying it back, this has been lower all day. We failed to break above the bottom of the drunken sailor range, so it makes sense that we're going to continue lower. But then this also tells us where price is likely to go, assuming all things equal, right? So, assuming all things equal, call centroid is going to continue trending lower, assuming that the behavior, that is what has happened from the open until 1 o'clock, continues. Same thing with the put side. So we can see that the call side has been a lot more aggressive lower than the put side. So again, no call speculation higher. And if we also look at our market trend model, which is built off of the tick index, we can see that this, waiting for it to pop up on the screen. Sorry, there's a little bit of delay. Anyway, can you guys hear me? See no sound now. Check. I'm getting sound on my end. Let me know if you guys have it on your end. Can y'all hear me? Sounds good now. All right, cool. So yeah, now getting back to the market trend. If I need to repeat anything, let me know. But getting back to the market trend model, lower all session. We were talking about how the bull market was, the short-term bull market had been weakening a little bit Friday into yesterday, right? Railroad track short-term moving average ribbon, trending lower, and just stepping back. If you guys are not familiar with all these terms, I'm going to get to that in a second, where you guys can go kind of unlock that stuff. But yeah, today it's just been a sustained selling day, right? This is the RSP, is the yellow, is the neon line. So obviously ramped higher, then we've just sold off from there. SPX looks a lot different. Well, it's been selling off too, right? So, but yeah, then the filtered tick selling, this is, significant buying and selling in the market. This has been trending lower as well throughout the session. That tells us, there's a little bit of serious selling taking place now. Yeah, sorry, thanks for letting me know my mic was far away from me, so moved it closer. So yeah, this kind of tells me, right, we're just going to, until the trend changes, like sideways to low is what we should be expecting. going back to the pre-market game plan, looking at those key levels, right? 6,400 is going to be a critical level. Yeah, I mean, we're not getting that far down, but yeah. But yeah, looking at 6,400 here, we're just looking at the distribution of speculation of where, those key levels are at, where we could maybe see either stopping of this move lower or a continuation. And so, right, that's where we had 6,400, just a key Livermore level, whole psychological level. A lot of speculation built up at that level too. So if we were to lose that, we would flip that strike again, adding more kind of supportive flows in terms of us moving lower. And then right from there, it's really just going to be dependent on if we continue to see the intraday volume dynamics of continued selling in the market via our vol-im and market trend model. Hitting on a couple of individual stocks, right? This is just a Mag 7. Have our scripts overlaid on there, which just give us what the key levels are at. Can see we've just been selling off. Can see, Apple has been flirting with P-trans at 230, key level that we want to pay attention to there. If we lose 230, could see a bit more selling, which would impact the market. Tesla, as it failed P-trans, we can see a lot of interaction with that yesterday in the pre-market today. Failed at 0 GEX. COTMP is where it is at right now. So that's kind of a typical monetization level, but just keep in mind when the market is selling off. No sound again. Wonderful. I would check your side. I'm showing a lot of sound on my side. I don't think everyone else is giving me feedback that they can hear me. So yeah, but I'm gonna keep going. If there's multiple people that can't hear me, please let me know. I'm assuming people can hear me because people are staying on. But yeah, so we're really just looking at all these stocks just kind of selling off right now. So not a ton to say in terms of getting long these names right now, especially with the market trend model continuing to dip lower. We want to see more of action like this, where we're above the railroad track moving average ribbon. For that kind of short-term momentum to come back in the market, and then we want to see the buying of the filter tick, speculation of large transactions coming back in the market as well. Right now it's going the opposite way. So that's kind of the general update I got right now. Let me know if you guys have any questions. The one thing I did want to hit on is, so some of you guys don't feel alienated, which I know it's easy to get that way with the stuff that we talk about. That's not the intent. So if you go to GameEdge.us, free courses, GameEdge FastPass. This is basically everything a new member gets in terms of our methodology, how to use the tools, all that good stuff, broken down into easy articles to read. Each article has a takeaway that you can implement as soon as tomorrow's trading session. So yeah, if all this stuff kind of foreign to you, everything is explained to you in there. We've also produced 20 blogs this year, which is effectively what the GameEdge FastPass is made up of. So you guys can go give those a read as well. I know no one likes to read. It's kind of boring, but unfortunately that's the work that you got to put in to understand this stuff, right? So, or you come here middle of the day, ask me questions that you would like, and we can go from there. So yeah, I need to eat some lunch here eventually. I just wanted to come check on. We're trying to make a more concentrated effort, consistent effort to do these on YouTube every day. So yeah, hence why we're here. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. And yeah, that's kind of what I got. Let me know if that was helpful or not. Made things more or less confusing for you. Yeah, just here another command I'm looking at is, so this is called our NetStat command. If you're familiar with 3D surface models, I know a lot of people in the options volatility space like those charts. This is just a quick summarization of the 4 key Greeks and the kind of key sensitivity points of those 3D surface models. Think of those as the big peaks. So to the downside, 6,400 obviously is going to be that key level to the downside. To the upside, you got a lot of work to do. But right now we have a lot of charm pressing down on the market, negative charm. So, as time passes, all else equal, negative flows are coming into the market. So again, that's why we need to see significant buying come in if we want to flip those flows. Does not look very likely right now, just given what structure looks like. So, so yeah, trying to stab along here, like, just tough way to make money. Tough way to make money today, unless you could get right on some little scalp higher. But the trend is certainly lower. Structure is pointing lower as well today. So yeah, it's been a pretty good grind lower all session. I mean, it's been kind of hard to get in unless you got kind of that retest of the bottom of the drunken tether range. That's a great entry, but from there it's just kind of been straight lower, making new lows. So we'll see. Hoping to see we can get a little retracement, then move to 6,400. PLTR getting crushed, probably. Yeah, crushed, but it's still freaking gone parabolic this year, so it'll be all right in there, unless you're just getting in. But yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I mean, yesterday PLTR could not get back above 0 gex, really failed to get above P-trans, so yeah, just keep that in mind. And if we look at GR, PLTR 150, yeah, looking at its gex ratio, which is just cumulative call gamma relative to cumulative put gamma in the structure. Think of that as kind of like a put call ratio. Except it's a little bit better in our opinion because it's based off of gamma, which is a time component. So right, it prioritizes those short-term speculation, which we care most about as traders. And we can just see how it's peaked around, for the last 150 days, peaked around 3.5, which means 3.5x the amount of call gamma relative to put gamma. So that's a ton, meaning there has to be a lot of incremental call buyers coming in to propel us higher. And once we kind of got there, started to actually move lower, divergence ahead of spot price, which is what we see time and time again for kind of peaking action. And then we've just seen a complete abandonment of the call speculators in that structure. So this is kind of a good way to use the gex ratio. You can kind of use like an overbought, oversold signal a little bit if you want to. Meaning, like, if we were getting up to 3.5 and you're thinking about initiating new longs at that point in time, probably not the best idea. Not saying that we should be getting longed here now that we're kind of at washed out levels, but it would be a lot more interesting down here, assuming we get maybe some kind of consolidative action, then start to see this trend reverse and move higher again, telling us that call speculation is coming back into the name, right? Tom, I'm like kissing the mic. I'll have to look at this later. I don't know why it's struggling, and then yeah, looking at delta balance again. The unique part about the options market is it is forward looking in nature, so we can understand how speculators are positioned out in time and if they're bullish or bearish. And just a snapshot of this, they're bearish right now. The oscillator is pinned at -1, so those future out 4 expirations, net puts are dominating that structure. Yeah, I'm just gonna pronounce it short for that. Sorry if I butchered your name, but yeah, the call versus put centroids right here. Yeah, they're pointing lower. So what this is 5 minute over 5 minute basis. We are aggregating all call and put volume separately, creating the distribution, and then we are finding the middle point of that distribution, which is called a centroid. So we're plotting those centroids throughout the session, and that is what creates the trend. So this tells us that call speculation has been lower throughout the session, put speculation has been lower throughout the session, and that is how those trends form. Does that answer your question? All right, I'm assuming it answers your question. If it doesn't, because I think there's a delay in this, unfortunately. But so yeah, there's another question. I'll do a couple more, then I'm gonna go eat some lunch. So yeah, looking at the SPXP complex right now, starting to become a lot more put dominated, just in the nature of how price action and flipping the moneyness of the options. Obviously, 6,400 is going to be a very important level for us to monitor. Looking at the rest of the week, what is that, to the 22nd? Yeah, I mean, put dominated right now. Again, 6,400 is kind of the key fulcrum. If we remove today's expiration, yeah, 6,400, again, the key fulcrum. I mean, under 6,400, then obviously we start to bring these other levels into play. And then, right, our market trend model, short term showing a bit of weakness and momentum. So that's kind of what we're focused on right now. And Amar, no, in terms of the vol M, that's not something you can identify at the start of the day, right? That is where we come back to structure and what are the key structural parts in the based off of positioning. And by understanding if we're above or below those key sensitivity points in structure, that can inform us of direction that way. And then that's where we then layer in actual intraday volume of how folks are actually transacting, interacting with those key points. And from there, that further either solidifies what our if-then statements were at the beginning of the session, or it makes us reassess if it's doing opposite from what we thought was going to happen. And so, yeah, we generally say, I mean, you need data points, right? You need data points at the beginning of the day to establish how people are transacting. So we kind of say, like, at the end of the London close and when it starts to get kind of a better representation of what the day may hold for us. But the market trend model, we can absolutely get insights into that early in the session as well. Just kind of depending on when, damn it, I messed the scale up. Just depending on when, buying and selling starts to hit the tape. Yeah, that's correct. 64.35. That was the bottom of our drunken sailor range, and yeah, from there to it just kind of bottom fell out from us. So yeah, right, again, it's at 64.35. That was just a peak of the speculation to the downside. So once you flip that, right, from the out of the money put dominated structure to in the money put dominated now, it flips the flows to them starting being negatively supporting price. All right, that's fine, whatever. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful, guys. I'm gonna go eat some lunch now. Like I said, we'll do this tomorrow. We're obviously in the Discord talking as well. So yeah, and just remember, GameEdge.us if you want some free resources to help you out. So with that, appreciate the time, and we will talk later. Thank you. Bye.